Okay, am I live? Can you guys see me? Okay, it looks like I'm live. Okay, I guess people can see me. Apollo, can you see me? Hello. Okay, live on Facebook. Sorry for the delay. Had a little bit of a technical problem, and my beautiful kids helped me. Hello from Jackson Heights, Queens, one of the absolute global epicenters of this lovely coronavirus. Hope you're all safe. And we're trying to stay safe too, and indoors and keep busy.
It's going.
Okay, it's going. Okay. I'd like to start by saying I wanted to do this. I have to figure out the link so that you guys can contribute if you'd like to, or we can do this as a test run and I'll post it on Facebook afterwards. I think that's a little bit easier because I'm a little bit technologically challenged. I really wanted to do this as an effort to help my colleagues and all my friends and all the people generally in the restaurant industry who are really hurting right now. The ones who are working are on the front lines. They're the people who are delivering food to you. They're the people who are cooking that food. And they're also the people who are cooking all those school lunches for kids for whom that's oftentimes the only meal of the day. So what I'm trying to do is encourage you all to contribute to a restaurant charity, and I've chosen one and I'll post it right after this is over. I'm doing a recipe that is super easy. It's a pasta dish with a very simple healthy sauce or healthy topping with broccoli, almonds. I have my broccoli right here, you can see that. I have blanched almonds right here. A fair amount of garlic and ginger, red onions, because that's what we Greeks like to use most of the kitchen, and a little bit of lemon zest. And the whole idea is to create recipes that are quick and easy and healthy, oftentimes with stuff most of us already have in the kitchen, but also that are recipes that are really flexible. So if you don't have broccoli, for example, you can use almost any other green vegetable. You can do it with green beans. You can do it with frozen broccoli, with frozen green beans, with spinach. It's basically the idea of cooking super simple vegetable dishes to go over pasta or rice or anything else. So I'm going to get started. The first thing I'm going to do is just toast my almonds, and those are right here. And I like to add nuts to a lot of my pasta sauces because nuts add texture. They're also really good for us. Almonds are particularly good for us, and they help improve our mood, among other things. And I can tell you that just from personal experience, I often turn to almonds if I'm a little bit down, and I do feel a noticeable difference. So I'm just going to add them to the frying pan here, to a small skillet. Just toast them for a couple of minutes. Okay. I'm going to wait for that to happen. I've already boiled my pasta, and that's basically for practical reasons, because my kitchen is a little bit small in this New York apartment, and I would have lost you if I had gone to the sink to drain the pasta, so I've already done that. And I'm waiting for my almonds to brown. They're right here. One of the great things about cooking in the Mediterranean mindset, with a Mediterranean mindset, is this idea of tremendous flexibility. The food is really forgiving, and that's something I often tell my students. people who come to Igalia to the cooking classes or in other classes and teaching situations, and even on the show, on my Greek table. So this is food that is generally very forgiving. The recipe calls for an herb of choice. So I happen to have dried Greek oregano today. You can use fresh herbs in this. You can use any dried herb that has a subtle flavor. I think with broccoli, things like mint and oregano and parsley and maybe fresh cilantro are all really good. I'm toasting the almonds, and you want to be careful not to brown them, so you want to have that on low flame. There's absolutely no fat in the skillet, and you can swirl them around in the pan a little bit. They've got a little bit of color on them, as you can see. So I'm going to just empty those right back into the bowl and have them ready. I'm doing that right now. And I'm going to get started on the topping for the pasta. So I have a little bit of extra virgin Greek olive oil right here. It's my go-to ingredient for almost anything. I can basically live on bread and olive oil and a little bit of sea salt. And I'm just warming that up in the frying pan. I'm going to get my onions in here before anything else. And everything's going to come together and be really pretty. This is a beautiful, bright dish. One of my secret ingredients is lemon zest. I use that quite a bit in a lot of my recipes. And I like to use it because it basically perks up everything. It brings out the flavor and everything. It's a great little cooking tip if you have to watch your salt intake. A little bit of grated lemon zest almost does the same thing that salt does. It enhances most flavors, and it goes really well with broccoli. Broccoli and citrus go really well together. So I'm just waiting for my olive oil to heat up. And I'm really glad you're tuning in. I hope everybody's safe. I'll be answering your questions as soon as the cooking demo is over. And we're all housebound. I guess part of me wants to dedicate this simple recipe to our amazing governor, Andrew Cuomo, who has shown the most incredible statesmanship. And I really hope I get to meet him someday, because he's given us all, he's been a calm voice in a growing storm. And kudos to him for showing incredible leadership in this great city. Red onions going in next. Now they're just roughly chopped, coarsely chopped. I've been keeping busy, cooking all sorts of things over the last couple of weeks. I stocked my pantry with all the things you would expect a pantry to be stocked with, like canned beans and canned tomatoes, cereals, that sort of thing, pasta, rice, quinoa, all sorts of different rices, all sorts of different grains. But one of the things that has really surprised me in the limited amount of time that I've spent in supermarkets, I'm really trying to avoid going frequently. It seems like the fresh produce aisles are still pretty packed. I was really surprised a couple of days ago when I walked into my local market, and almost everything in the middle was gone. The canned foods were gone. The pasta and the rice was gone. But everything around the periphery of the supermarket, thankfully, was still there. So one of the things that I like to do is to buy fresh vegetables that are sturdy. Broccoli is definitely one of them. Broccoli will keep, for a while, for a week to 10 days in the fridge, maybe even longer, if it's stored properly. So will cauliflower. So will certain fruits like apples and oranges. Those are the sturdy vegetables. Root vegetables are in that category too. So there are lots of ways that we can eat fresh food, fresh vegetables, and save the canned stuff for the really, that's sort of like the dire straits. You want to go to that only when you really have to. I'm just going to soften my onions. That's what I'm doing here. And I want to thank my beautiful kids. I feel very blessed that we're all in this apartment together, and they're helping me with the technological stuff here. And I hope, I don't know if you're cooking with me out there, but if you are, have a great lunch. I hope you're able to share it. If not at a distance with someone, then online. I've been doing a lot of that too. I've had little wine drinking sessions with my friends in Greece and friends in other parts of the world. I think there's some app or something called like Dining. I don't know what it's called, but it's apparently set up to enable friends to get together from long distances. The human spirit is very resilient, and I know that we'll get through this. And I know that New Yorkers who are really tough at the core will get through this as well. So the onions are almost soft. We don't want any color on them. We just want them to be glistening. I don't know if you can see that. The next thing that goes in here is the garlic. Now I have a lot of garlic here. I think I've chopped 4 or 5 cloves because garlic is really good for us. I try to eat raw garlic every day. Sometimes I drop a little bit of garlic in a cup of mountain tea or a cup of sage tea. Where I come from on the island of Icaria, the old timers will tell you that it was their penicillin before pharmacies were anywhere to be found on the island. The next thing that's going in here is ginger, or as we call it in Greek, piperoriza, pepper root, because it's so spicy. And again, just softening that up. Now, on your ingredients list, I called for Greek feta. That is something I always have in the house. And I want to say a couple of words about Greek feta, that it is the real Greek feta. It is the real feta, and it's always made with either sheep and goat's milk, never with cow's milk. So that's something you want to look for. But if you can't find feta and you have to use another cheese, that's fine too. Again, the whole idea of food that is forgiving, that's easy, that you don't have to stress out when cooking, things that you can exchange or substitute, one cheese for another. So you could do grated Parmesan in here. You could do chunks of, little diced pieces of Parmesan or Romano or anything really, even cheddar, or no cheese and make it totally vegan. The nuts give it kind of that craveable quality that cheese also does because of the fat in them. Ditto for the olive oil. That's something that Greeks know kind of instinctively. So much of our food depends on pretty copious amounts of olive oil. And that is something that lends not only good nutrition, it's not only the best cooking fat, but it's something that adds almost this textural quality, that how can I put it, the enticing quality that fat has, that we all gravitate to. But in the case of olive oil, of course, that's a good fat, and it's very good for us, and it has all sorts of anti-inflammatory qualities and vitamins and minerals and just amazing nutritional characteristics. So the onions, garlic, and ginger are exactly where I want them to be. I don't want any color on the garlic. I don't want to burn it. Same thing goes for the ginger. The onions are soft, but they still have some texture. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. And I'm just going to get the broccoli in here next. It's going right in here. And I have fresh florets here that I cut earlier. You can use frozen broccoli florets for this too. Whatever is easiest for you and whatever you have in the house. And again, if you don't have broccoli, you can use another vegetable. So those are going in. And I'm going to just let this cook a little bit. I will add a little bit of salt to it. Now I could cover this and let the broccoli sweat, but I really just want you to see what's going on in the frying pan. And I want to also share another little cooking secret with you. one of the things that I learned just from spending so much time in Greece most of my adult life, but also having experience in a very small Greek village, where as a kid I watched my older relatives be, the most extreme home economists imaginable. And to a New York kid like me, that was it was a very unusual experience. I hadn't anticipated or ever expected that things come full circle, and the things that you see as a child sometimes come back to you. And one of those things is the notion of never wasting anything, never wasting any food. So even in vegetable cooking, there is something called nose to tail eating. And what I have here are the broccoli stalks that I'm not going to throw away. Later, and this is just a tip for you, I'm going to shred them. And I'll probably do it in a food processor and use them to make a really nice broccoli slaw. I have a little cabbage in the fridge. You can put some carrots in there, some fennel if you have that. And it's just a salad. It's just a simple salad the way you would make coleslaw, except it's made with something that most of us would typically throw away. So that's just a good thing to keep in mind when we're trying to limit our exposure to markets and to other people, to use everything you can that's in the house and that's edible. So the broccoli is taking on that beautiful bright green color. And I am going to add a little bit of liquid to this. Now, if I had ouzo in the house, that's what I would add to this, but I don't. Because I love the flavor of anise with vegetables, that nice almost licorice flavor. But I do have a little bit of white wine, and all it needs is a drop. That's going in here. Now, if you don't have white wine, don't worry. You don't need to have it. And I've also saved a little bit of the liquid from boiling the pasta, which I'll add to this at the end when the broccoli is almost done. This is only going to take a few minutes. And it's looking good. It looks really pretty and bright. And I think that's also a good thing when we cook and when we're kind of housebound in this incredible situation. Cooking food that looks pretty puts us in a better mood, for sure. At least it does me. So I notice on the screen that people are commenting. I have to wait until this is over in order to do that, in order to answer. So please bear with me. This is the first attempt at doing an online live cooking class. So hopefully I'll get better at it. And again, as soon as this is over, and forgive me for not doing it sooner, I was a little bit challenged technologically with this. I'm going to post a restaurant charity that you can contribute to if you'd like. For me personally, and I hope and assume that most of you out there feel the same way. For all of my life, restaurants have given me tremendous pleasure. I love dining out. I love the civility of restaurants. Having run one in Greece many years ago, I can tell you that the people who do it consistently well are true superheroes. They have to deal with incredible variables every single day. All sorts of characters, Murphy's Law 24/7, anything can go wrong at any time. And right now, the industry is really hurting. It is, in terms of overall employment, 18 times larger than the airline industry. And one of the absolute pillars of our economy. Some chefs are doing incredible work to help each other. One of them is Jose Andres in DC. But all my friends in the business have this incredibly strong sense of community. And the ones who can have stayed open to do food deliveries, putting their own people, at risk. The ones who have had to lay people off did it with incredible heavy hearts. And a lot of those people, as you well know, are the most economically fragile in our community. So if we can help them, and from my perspective, give a little bit back to this industry that is just really, to me, one of the the high points of human interaction. What is more civilized than having a beautiful meal with other people, enjoying the art of somebody in the kitchen, experiencing the luxury of being served food in a restaurant. For me, that's been just a lifelong pleasure, and I've made my own living doing it as a restaurant critic in Athens for many, many years. So the broccoli is almost there. I want it to be al dente. I want there to be a little bit of crunch to it because that adds nice texture. And the next thing that's going in here, as I mentioned earlier, is just a little bit of the pasta cooking liquid. That's a little trick that anyone who knows anything about cooking pasta will usually tell you. And that's just going right in, just to add a little bit of lubrication to the pot, to the sauce. So there was about 2/3 of a cup of liquid in there. So this is almost done. And I want there to be this beautiful color, as I mentioned to you. The next thing that I'm getting in here are my toasted almonds. I'm just going to let this cook a little bit. If you don't have almonds, you can use literally any nut. You can use peanuts in here, you can use pine nuts, you can use walnuts, you can use hazelnuts, anything that you have in the cupboard. I cannot drive home that notion more. I am a great proponent of not cooking with recipes. I think people stress out way too much about recipes, especially when, I'm not talking about baking. Baking, you need to follow very strict, it's much more rigid, and there's more chemistry in baking than there is in cooking, a broccoli sauce for pasta. So this idea that, you can make this with almost anything. If you don't have lemons, you could use orange zest in here. In fact, last night, for my 2 hungry kids, I just made this ad hoc chicken dish with broccoli, and I cut up some oranges and put them in the pan too. Oranges are one of my favorites. Citrus generally is one of my favorite things to use in savory dishes. So next in here, the toasted almonds, and I just had chopped blanched almonds that I picked up a couple of days ago on my last visit to the supermarket, and those are going right in here. And I mentioned that I have Greek herbs. I always have Greek herbs in the house. And this particular oregano, I actually sell it online. It comes from Sparta. It's incredibly potent. Because Greece has such a dry climate, the herbs are very, very intensely flavored and very rich in essential oils. And the Greek oregano from almost anywhere in the country tends to be very, very aromatic. So that's also going in here. I wish you were in my kitchen with me to smell this. It smells really, really good. And it's almost done. Now, I also have some red pepper flakes, but I'm not going to add them. I'm just going to show them to you because I'm actually going to serve this to my kids for lunch in a little while. And I don't think either of them are particularly fond of red pepper flakes. So that's what I've got here. And the next thing going in here is lemon zest. And I've just, actually what I've done is I've zested lemons with a vegetable pear and just chopped that almost like a julienne because I didn't have actually a zester in the kitchen. So that's going in here. And the addition of lemon not only adds brightness and perks up the dish, it also adds a hint of acidity. And in almost anything we cook, we have to find that balance between fat and acid and everything else that's going on in the dish. And that's exactly what the lemon peel does, the lemon zest. So I am ready. And I'm going to serve this up. And I have a little bit of crumbled Greek feta right here, which I'm going to spoon on top. So I'm just going to get a little bit, my pasta got a little bit cold. I'm sorry about that. Okay, not too much, just a small portion that I can share with you. Okay, getting some of my sauce on here. I hope you're having a little fun with me doing this. I am going to add a dollop, just a drizzling of olive oil over this, because that's always, in my book, that's a good addition to almost anything. And I've got a little bit of crumbled Greek feta. I crumbled it before I started. That's going right on here. And again, if you don't have feta, use any cheese that you have in the refrigerator, or don't use cheese at all. You can make this totally vegan. And just a little bit of a drizzling of extra virgin Greek olive oil on here. Here is, let me get a little closer to show you. Here is our pasta with broccoli, ginger, garlic, feta cheese, lemon zest, and toasted almonds, and a little bit of that Greek oregano. Thank you all so, so much. Stay safe. I'm going to sit at my computer and answer your questions. So tune in again. I'm doing this on Friday. I'm cooking a traditional Greek bean soup with dried navy beans. So you might want to run out and get those soon, or order them, or use any other bean that you have in the house to almost the same end result. Again, thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay home, and let's all have faith that this too shall pass. Bye-bye. Thank you. Okay, how do I do this? End live video. End live video. Bye.